Hey, Moana, can I borrow this for a sec? Thanks.
What?
Hey there, Moana. Hope you don't mind. I'll just take this.
What? No!
Oh, by the way, can I copy your answers in page 2?
Do you have a Lin-Manuel Miranda pen?
No, I don't.
Then no!
I'll do it anyway.
Huh? But you just said...
Oh, yeah. Speaking of page 2, I'll take those as well. Thanks.
No, okay, you know what? No. Stop! What the heck is the matter with you two? Are you guys really that lazy and unoriginal that you're actually blatantly copying me word for word?
Moana 2, why are you in this class? You're supposed to be a TV show. Moana live action. Why are you even here?
It's too early for you. You don't understand.
We didn't want to be here. We were just forced to.
What? Oh my god. What kind of sleazy, greedy, egotistical asshole would even think of forcing a TV show into a movie and a live action of a barely old product? Oh.
Welp, they got you too, huh? Are people still talking about this? Do we have to talk about this? Alright, Moana 2 is a sequel to the 2016 Disney blockbuster hit, Moana, welcoming back our iconic duo, and together with some new friends, they set off on a journey to find a hidden island across the sea. Most of you guys already know the story behind the scenes on this one, so I'll just get to the point. Moana 2 was initially made to be a Disney Plus show, only to be reworked into a full-length feature film. Keyword being reworked. I honestly think they didn't just take a bunch of episodes and cram them into 1 hour. That's just crazy. Instead, they probably forced a bunch of underpaid animators to redo 80% of their work in an 8-month time frame, which is fucking insane. With that said, I think the movie's fine. Is it as good as the first one? Hell no! Moana 1 is probably one of my top favorite movies of all time, so clearly, this being a direct sequel, it kinda disappoints me. Don't get me wrong, it's not bad, but it's not great either. There were some aspects that I liked though. I like the direction they took for Moana and her story. Her taking on the task of sailing the seas to find other people around the world is a very cool concept and a great way to expand on their world building. The songs weren't that bad, honestly. I expected them to be a disaster, but they were good. They weren't showstoppers like the ones in the first movie, but I mean, to what we got, it was fine. I think it's just that I don't like how the sequel to one of the best Disney movies of all time was just a reworked TV show. That's some straight-to-DVD bullshit Moana did not deserve, man. But don't worry though, as the audience, we can send them a message. We have to make it a point that what they did is terrible practice as a company and should not be normalized. So we have to make sure that we won't reward lazy, rushed, and half-thought-out projects that it made $1 billion? Well, originality's dead, creativity's gone, shame is nowhere to be found. It's all sequels, remakes, and reboots from here on out, folks. I give up. Bye! Moana 2 is a massive, yet expected, disappointment. Let's talk about it. Let's dive right in and take a look at Disney's latest cash grab. This is Moana 2. Our movie begins by reintroducing us to the main character, Moana, together with familiar faces, Pua and Heihei. Turns out it's been 3 years since the first movie. Why the hell does she look younger now than she did before? We'll never know. And it looks like all Moana has done so far was go island to island across the sea in search of other people. But so far, no dice.
One day, someone's gonna answer.
He got you good, Moana. You just got hey. That's the last time we get to see that gag, right? Oh, son of a bitch! Moana discovers proof of other civilizations and off she goes back home to tell her village. And you know what that means. Cue opening musical number. Alright, this was bound to be a topic anyways, so let's talk about it. So, like the first movie, yes, this is yet again another Disney princess musical. And the songs? They're fine. It's not as good as the first movie though, and you can tell Lin-Manuel Miranda was sorely deeply missed here. If you guys didn't know, Lin didn't return to write the songs for this one, and it shows. They're passable, but forgettable. They're just not as catchy or as interesting as the ones in the previous movie. The whole thing kind of felt generic and safe. I wouldn't say that they're cookie cutter songs. Actually, yeah, I think that's exactly what I described them, to be honest. But they do their jobs. They just don't stand out as much. They're serviceable, is the best I can describe them.
Who are you? Who are you? Who are you gone?
Okay, most of them. Well, anyways, this leads to the first song of the movie, We're Back. And I think it's decent. I mean, there's nothing really to take away from it. There's no catchy lyric that scratches your brain in an hourly basis. In fact, I think none of the songs here do that, but it's still a decent opening number. It does its job. Like most openers, they provide information for the audience. Here, they use it as basically a recap and update on what happened in between movies. Now, compared to its older sister, Where You Are, the issue here is that nothing significant really went on in between movies to give this song its full backbone, if that makes sense. For me, the song somehow just feels empty during the entire sequence. It feels like the movie handing you a checklist on what they did last summer instead of giving you a presentation. Compare that with Where You Are, where the song's lyrics and instrumental have much more of an identity and share far more emotion and story. It's not your ordinary run-of-the-mill intro. The song utilizes every inch of room it has, and it works. We're Back is just straightforward exposition. It sounds pretty generic, and you can feel it try to recapture the vibe of Where You Are. Well, anyways, back to the movie. With Moana finally back home, we get to meet a brand new character in the franchise, Simea, Moana's little sister.
Little sis!
Yup, I guess she has a sister now. Turns out in the first movie, her mom was pregnant. You were pregnant? Aw, Chief, you dog. Looks like the ocean wasn't the only thing that got you wet when the curse was lifted. Yes, you heard right. This is Simea, Moana's little sister. And I have nothing else to add. I am not kidding. Simea is basically just there. She's adorable, but she doesn't really add anything to the plot. She's basically somebody Moana has to care about and to be the reason that she'd have a hard time leaving Motunui. An added motivation to come back. Because her 2 living parents and 500 villagers weren't enough motivation to return to, I guess. But honestly though, giving Moana a younger sister is actually a really good idea. Adding in a sisterhood aspect into the mix would have done wonders for Moana as a character. When they introduced Simea, I was on board on whatever story they had plans with the two. But sadly, nothing really happens. Yeah, we don't get to see Simea again until the end of the movie. Oh, that's another thing. Simea is not part of the crew. She got introduced as someone Moana deeply cares for, but never gets utilized. It would have been really cool to see Disney explore a sisterhood relationship between 2 characters with a significant age gap. The last time I can recall a dynamic like that existing was with Nani and Lilo back in Lilo and Stitch. Imagine seeing Moana thrust into a protective big sister role in the middle of her voyage. But sadly, we don't get that. But what we do get is to watch another ragtag road trip buddy movie with underdeveloped characters though. Yay! With Moana finally back home, she's given the title of Tao Tai, the highest rank of all wayfinders. Everything seemed to be going well until... Oh my god, it killed her! Oh heavens, why? What are the odds that a random lightning would strike right at that very spot? Oh, the horror! Oh, the stress!
Tautai Moana.
Never mind, she's fine. Apparently, that whole thing was just a way for her ancestors to send her a message. Really, man? You couldn't wait until she went to bed to deliver the news? Was the lightning in the middle of the crowd really necessary?
Beanie, your ancestors want to talk to you.
Yeah, okay, I'll just... Wait, what? Moana would get a vision from a past Tao Tai named Vasa. He drops a bombshell that a god named Nalo sunk a mystical island that connected all the people across the sea called Motufetu. And it's Moana's destiny to find it, or else... Actually, he didn't really say. Something, isolation, something, empty future. I don't know.
I don't understand.
Neither did the writers, Moana. Neither did the writers.
Find Motufetu.
I don't know how to reach it.
A fire in the sky will guide you.
Bitch! You mean the fucking stars? There's like a billion of them! If you're gonna strike me with lightning, might as well give me the full details of what you're trying to tell. Hey, come back here! Moana receives the call and off she goes to find the island of Motufetu. But before that, she'd have to find a crew. Which doesn't make any sense because she was doing just fine by herself in the last movie. But who gives a shit? There's one thing that's very important right now, and that's right. It's time for an I Want Disney Princess song! Hit it!
What lies beyond on the vast uncharted sea.
Okay, so major unpopular opinion here, but I honestly think that this is the best song in the movie, which isn't saying much. The bar basically dug itself underground, but I actually like this song. It's pretty much the movie's version of How Far I'll Go, and literally a direct response to it, being titled Beyond. So I thought that was kind of neat. The instrumentals are great, and Auli'i sounds absolutely amazing. Again, it pales in comparison to How Far I'll Go, but it's still a pretty solid follow-up. Unlike some songs in here, this one feels much more up to standard. I like it. The lyrics are nice, and the singing is powerful. Overall, a pretty solid song and a pretty decent number. But quick side note, I really don't like that this movie is still very much trying to replicate the first movie. I mean, good God, come on! Moana even starts singing her solo on the same fucking tree! And I'm so sorry, bear with me, but just like the first movie, it takes her grandma to convince her to leave. Yeah, the one that died a movie ago. She just straight up shows up at the beach on a random Tuesday. Like, what's the point of you being dead when you can just pop to the shore whenever you want? Anyways, like I said, with the journey being, quote, much more dangerous than the last, Moana would have no choice but to assemble a crew. And this is where we get to meet our 3 new special characters. We have Loto, Moni, and Kele. The worst crew Moana could have ever possibly assembled. I am not shitting you. These 3 are so goddamn useless in this movie, it's not even fucking funny. They're annoying, uninteresting, and boring. I could fucking hurl. They're not as bad as a Lightyear crew, thank God, but they're pretty fucking close. I've got the pen! Why don't you shove that pen right up your fucking ass, Taika? Bro, I did not care for the new characters, like, at all. And clearly, neither did the movie. It's so obvious that the original concept was to have each character fleshed out throughout multiple episodes, but because Disney demanded to have the show reworked into a movie, they just chose to abandon them and give them half-assed character flaws to, quote, explore. And yes, their character arcs are exactly as you'd expect. It's like Disney made sure to give them negative traits that are inconvenient, but not too inconvenient where it warrants any focus. First, we have Loto. She's smart and she loves building boats. Her flaw? She loves building boats. Then we have Moni, the muscle of the group, but he gets too distracted with his stories and drawings. And finally, we have Kele, the farmer. He's just old. And together, they form as the Matanui 4. Break them up immediately. The movie does a terrible job giving us their first impressions too. Loto does way too much way too soon for my liking. Moni's a dumbass. And Kele can't swim?
Also, I cannot swim!
You can't fucking swim! You were told you'd be voyaging the sea to face a storm god, and you can't fucking swim! But that's not all. The movie just randomly decides to collect all possible non-speaking sidekicks and group them all together. Hey Hey's coming along for some fucking reason. Pua also joins in. The ocean is barely in this, but it's still there. But then later in the movie, they add another non-talking character with a kakamora, and finally Maui's tattoo. That's 5 non-speaking characters together in one movie. Hell, in one boat. How in the world would you think to manage that? Spoiler alert, they don't. It's a fucking mess. But the crew also has a musical number, and it kind of just comes out of nowhere.
What could be better than this? What could be better than this?
The song isn't my cup of tea either. I don't really like it, but I can definitely see it being liked by a much more younger demographic, and I truly think that that was their intention. But I'll give them this. I think it's the only song in here that doesn't try to copy off the first movie, so Congratulations! Along their voyage, they encounter the Kakamora.
That is fanfic.
That line actually made it to the final product, ladies and gentlemen. Someone got paid to write that. A fellow Kakamora pirate would join Moana's crew and help them take down a giant clam. They successfully defeat the beast, but in return, our heroes would get dragged down along with it. Oh my fucking god, was that another screaming goat joke? In this economy? What the fuck is going on back in Hollywood? This is like the 10th time it's been referenced. Oh my lord, it's like the Aquafina of sound effects. The crew gets swallowed by the clam and Moana gets separated, where she meets one of our villains, Matangi, a vampire? Dracula from Hotel Transylvania? Meanwhile, the rest of the Motunui 4 and friends stumble across Maui. Oh yeah, Maui's in this movie. Maui's in this movie. Oh my god, I completely forgot. 45 minutes into the movie and I completely forgot the second main character existed. Gosh, so what exactly have you been doing all this time? Well, that checks out. Now, remember when they said that Moana 2 was basically a TV show reworked into a movie? Well, if so far it hasn't looked like that yet, nothing seems to give it away more than the entire time we're in this fucking clam. I swear, it felt like a switch was flipped the moment we got here. The animation looks cheaper, the movements are way too elastic, the dialogue sounds cheesy, and the jokes feel way over the top, and a lot of slapstick. Like, a lot. Ironically enough, it all feels like a Hotel Transylvania movie. Oh, by the way, we also get a villain song from Matangi. But then we get a twist that she's actually not a villain, so... Not a villain song? Does this movie really not have a villain song? Oh my god, this movie does not have a villain song!
Get lost, cut loose, and lose your way.
The song's called Get Lost, and it's basically a mirror of Shiny, where it's a song that heavily detracts from the soundtrack's usual genre. Shiny is more glam rock, while Get Lost is more of the vibe of 80s acid jazz. I just looked that one up on Google, I have no idea what I just said. Certainly one of the better songs on here. Afimai sounds amazing, and not gonna lie, the beat is pretty catchy. To sum it up, the song is basically Matangi advising Moana on how to get to Motofetu, and the only way to get there is to quote, stop playing safe and get lost. Basically saying to quit following the rules and break them. She's telling all this to Moana, by the way. You know, the woman who famously broke her village rules multiple times in the first movie. Matangi is honestly a pretty cool character. I like her chemistry with both Moana and Maui as well. She blends in seamlessly with the two, even sharing a lot of great back and forths. But sadly, after the twist reveal, she kinda ends up being wasted potential. She would have made for a very entertaining villain, but sadly, we don't really get that. The movie kinda cops out last second and reverts back to giving us nature as the big threat instead of something different.
If Nalo finds out I helped, we'll die by lightning. Maui looked good.
You really had to throw that one in last second, didn't you? Oh, speaking of which, I almost forgot to mention, I don't know if any of you guys noticed, but this movie needlessly and excessively panders to Maui so much. It's fucking pathetic. I am dead ass serious. There are countless of scenes here where characters just flaunt over Maui, just completely enamored by him. Moni's whole character is quite literally being the biggest Maui fanboy. Every scene he's in with Maui, he's just barely functional. And I guess it would make sense for Maui to get all these praise. He and Moana did restore the heart of Te Fiti, but all the admiration just feels so forced and yucky. I'd gladly accept it if it played a part of Maui's character arc. Spoiler alert, it doesn't. It could have worked well for a story like Maui's too. I mean, he did want the love of the humans, so maybe now that he's got it, it could be that he's overwhelmed by it, or he feels like it doesn't deserve it, or something. But no, he just randomly gets glazed on so many times for no apparent reason, yet can't help but think that maybe a certain executive producer had some strings pulled and made some giant bald-ass footnotes in the writer's room. But hey, that's just me. Well, anyways, finally, with the group now complete and our iconic duo reunited, off they go to find Motofetu.
The ancestors wouldn't have called if we couldn't do this.
Unless it was a butt dial. That'll make sense in 2,000 years.
You can go fuck yourself, how about that?
Ocean?
Moana. The ocean cannot help you here.
Because we ran out of budget and we can't animate him anymore. They'd encounter a bunch of monsters on the way, courtesy of Nalo, and they barely make it out alive. Moana, just now realizing just how dangerous this trip really is, starts to doubt herself if she's truly capable of finishing the mission. But don't worry though, because we have a Maui song to save the day.
Who are you? Who are you gonna be? You're gonna.
Oh, an hour into the movie and you thought we won't be getting a Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson solo number? Well, psych, bitch, here you go.
Can I get a? Let me hear it.
Can I get a lyricist? God damn, the fuck is this? Oh yeah, this one is an absolute mess. My boy Lin-Manuel Miranda can do miracles, I tell ya. Can I get a Chi who capitalizes on the success of You're Welcome, and it fails miserably. The rhymes are weak, the lyrics are all over the place, and good lord, The Rock cannot rap to save his life.
Here's the deal. That bullying storm god skips leg day for real.
Excuse me, what did you just say?
And under pressure, you measure up. You even taught me a lesson.
Huh?
Worse, I'm making the bet on the bravest and greatest of wayfinders I've ever met.
Motherfucker, that didn't even fucking rhyme!
It's about drive, it's about power. We stay hungry, we devour. Put in the work, put in the hours, and take what's ours.
The song's pacing sounds really off as well. There's this one part where it's just dead silence and both Moana and Maui are just standing there waiting for the song to pick back up. What the hell was even that? The instrumental and chorus are solid though, I'll give them that. Even though they rhyme Moana with come on, I still dig the vibe.
Go get him, princess.
Still not a princess.
Well, a lot of people think you are.
If the mouse says you're a princess, you're a princess.
Well, anyways, at this point, we're off to the big climax, where the crew maneuver around Nalo's storm and face the god's wrath together. Oh yeah, we faced Nalo's storm, by the way. Not Nalo. We don't get to see Nalo. You have to unlock movie number 3 for that one. Yep. I am dead ass. You know what this means, right? Technically, we don't get to see a villain in this story. And that's no joke. The Kakamora are good guys now. The clam wasn't much of a threat. They needed to be swallowed by it. Matangi was a twist hero. The monsters were just Nalo's goons. And the storm is just Nalo working from home. We legitimately don't have a bad guy in this movie. The storm isn't even as intimidating as they built it up to be. The design is just lazy. It's just a storm cloud with a face.
He found Motupetu. Nalo knows he found it.
Brilliant screenwriting there, Disney. Just top notch. 10 out of 10. Anyways, in the process of trying to restore Motofetu, Maui would lose his powers and Moana gets killed.
Moana, you can't.
Ah, yes. Surely Disney would have the balls to kill off a Disney princess, let alone the lead to one of their most profitable franchise ever behind Frozen. Oh, who am I kidding? Everyone say it with me. With some Disney bullshit, Moana is alive! Oh, wow, this is crazy. So does that mean the roles are reversed now? Moana's a demigoddess and Maui is back to being a human being? Or he just magically gets his powers back? Okay. You know what? I don't care. Maui and Moana successfully erased the land of Motofetu, breaking Nalo's curse and reconnecting the ocean to the people once again. Everyone returns home a hero, and we get one last shot of the Motonoi 4 and friends together, sailing off to find more people. The end. Oh, I almost forgot. We also have a Marvel-style post-credit scene teasing a third Moana movie.
Human should never have been able to reach Motufetu.
What? When did Disney princess movies started doing this shit?
We're just getting started.
Ah, fuck you. Okay, to tell you guys the truth, Moana 2 isn't all that bad. It's simply an okay sequel that sadly fails to live up to the original. Would this have been better if they kept it as a series? Most probably, yeah. Look, the movie has the right idea and honestly, a pretty interesting concept. They just sadly failed to execute. The songs are forgettable, the side characters are a nuisance, the animation's a downgrade, and the story, funny enough, though almost a carbon copy as the first one, is just not as interesting. Moana 2 doesn't do anything new, nor does it take anything to the next level. It's simply a safe, go-with-the-flow follow-up that most half-baked sequels tend to fall into. In the end of the day, it's fine. It's not bad, but it's definitely not good either. It's just okay, a movie made to follow the rules and make money. And it did. Stagnant, safe, and forgettable, Moana 2 is just yet again another Disney disappointment. 5 out of 10. That's it for today's video. I hope you enjoyed your stay. Have a great day and a good night, and I'll see you all next time. Bye!